For today's video, I have forced proximity recommendations. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jenny. This is Jenny Reads Maybe, where maybe I read or maybe I don't. So for today's video, I have forced proximity recommendations. Forced proximity is quite possibly one of my favorite tropes. I just love that they're forced to like be together, and typically a lot of them are like hate to love or enemies to lovers, or just like antagonists to lovers or opposites attract. So I just think it's such a fun like trope, and there's so many ways to do it. So I have 10 recommendations for you, and obviously they're romances, and they kind of go between like cowboy, small town, even like boss employee. But without further ado, I will get started with the first book I have, which is Hang Tough by Lorelei James. So this is book 8 in the Blacktop Cowboys series. You can pretty much read these as standalones. Some, like, all the characters interconnect and they all take place in this like small Wyoming town, and obviously it's a cowboy romance. So this book follows Tobin and Jade, who are basically forced to be roommates. Tobin has moved in with one of like the older women in the small town, Garnet, and Garnet is like older. She needs kind of more help and more like, I guess, protection, and he just wants to help her out. But her granddaughter moves into town and is staying with her, and Tobin and Jade are very opposite. Tobin is like a kind of gruff cowboy, obviously, and Jade is from, I think, New York City. And so they kind of butt heads in the beginning, and they both think that the other is trying to take advantage of Garnet. So they are obviously like not getting along, but slowly but surely, as they're forced to spend all this time together and they live down the hall from each other, they grow closer and eventually fall in love. I love this series. I gave all 10 books 5 stars, so I definitely recommend picking this up. Tobin is such a great hero, and it definitely stays true to the cowboy nature. So the next book I have is On the Hustle by Adriana Herrera, and I just read this like a couple weeks ago. It is forced proximity. He is her former boss and she was his former assistant, but she moves to Dallas to kind of visit with friends, but also she has like job opportunities for her like small business, which is like bookish home design. And he cannot stand to be away from her. He wants to confess the feelings that he's had for her for all these years. So he follows her to Dallas with the opportunity to host a like home improvement design show, and he convinces her to do it. And unfortunately, the place that she's staying at floods and she has to move in with him. And so they're roommates. They're spending all this time together, and they are just around each other constantly between work and living together. And this is another 5-star read of mine. I really love this. Adriana Herrera just does so amazing at like crafting like characters that are relatable. It is grumpy, and yeah, I just definitely recommend this one. It's super fun, fast, spicy, and like a fun time. So that's that. Then I have Love at First Spite by Anna E. Collins. This is one I read earlier in the year, and so they are co-workers. They don't get along, and they work at like an architecture firm, and she is trying to work on a project, and the only architect who can help draw up the plans and work with her is him. So they're basically forced to spend all this time together, and they realize that there's feelings involved. And yeah, it's another like cute one, another like architecture design one. So I definitely recommend picking this one up. I don't remember much of it because I read it so long ago, but it is really great. So Next, I have what I think is kind of like a staple and a classic, and that is Lease on Love by Fallon Ballard. This is another like roommates to lover situation. She is accidentally scrolling through like a roommates app that she thinks is a dating app on like a drunk night, and messages him, and they become roommates. He is like super like rich, and his parents recently died. She wants to open a like floral shop, like a flower shop, and she starts running it out of their like shared home. And it's really sweet. It's another really cute one. It handles like grief really well. And yeah, I definitely recommend this one. Another one that I read so long ago and I don't remember a ton about it, but obviously there's the forced proximity of them being roommates and spending all this time together. So it's super good. Next, I have one of my all-time favorite books of ever, and that is Chick Magnet by Emma Barry. I'm obsessed with this cover, and it is a small town. She is a social media influencer that has to do with like chickens and kind of living out off of like herself, and so she's kind of gained notoriety through that. He is the small town veterinarian, and he's really struggling post COVID to kind of keep his business up. They are neighbors, and they kind of instantly get off on the wrong foot because she brings one of her chickens into the vet and it's in danger of dying, and he kind of has to take care of it. So they don't get along at first, but slowly but surely they come together. This is like a very angsty, emotional book. He is kind of diagnosed with depression in it, so there's a depression rap. But it's also like swoony and sweet and steamy. And so I definitely recommend picking this up. Emma Barry is one of my favorite authors. She has such a way with words and just kind of describing like situations and feelings. So I definitely recommend picking this one up. Then I have 5 books that I don't own physically, but that I've loved recently. And so the first one is Mine to Share by Kennedy L. Mitchell. And this is a like Criminal Minds-esque MFM romance. So we have our 2 heroes, which one is a like former NFL star turned detective, and he has always kind of had feelings for his coworker, which is who is the, oh my gosh, the coroner and like the ME for this police station that he works at and for the area. And she discovers a like serial killer in the area through like the different bodies, and they have to call in an FBI agent to kind of come help profile the serial killer and catch the serial killer. But she has a history with the profiler, and so when he comes into town, their feelings arise, and he is staying at a very like bad hotel, and so she offers for him to stay with her, but then her house gets broken into, and they both end up staying with the kind of grumpy detective. It is very like steamy, but very emotional as well, as they all kind of discover their feelings for each other and how they're going to navigate this like polyamorous relationship. And obviously there's like the background suspense of the serial killer and finding out who it is. It was really good. It was one of the ones that I gave 4.5 stars, and it's like a recently published book in a series, but it is an interconnected like standalone, so you can read it on its own. And yeah, so it was very fun, very steamy, very like murdery mystery, and I had a really great time. Then I have All on the Line by Lo Everett, and this is a neighbors romance and a baseball romance. So what happens is Hendrix James has just been like transferred to the Denver Bandits baseball team, and he is living in an apartment, and the next door neighbor is constantly kind of making a lot of noise and it's like sexual noise. So he's constantly thinking that she's hooking up with people, and it's always interrupting his routine, and it's just not going well for him. So all at the same time, he meets Poppy, who is his best friend on the team, his other friend, like they're all friends. It's like a circle of friends. And what ends up happening is Poppy and Hendrix develop feelings, but all of this is happening and Poppy is actually the neighbor. Only she is not actually having all these hookups. She is a like phone sex operator, and so she's really intense about her job, but she's also trying to transfer into doing audiobooks. So there's some tension there. This is another like super fun one. It is a debut by this author and it was really cute. I thought it was really fun and like a new kind of take on like an audiobook narrator. So yeah, it was definitely fun. I recommend it. And I'm really excited for the other book in this series to come out because it's about their friends. But yeah, so next is Playing It Country by Alexandra Hale. This is the 4th book in her Clementine Creek series. It's another series that is interconnected standalones, though I do like recommend reading them together. Not because like they're super like connected, but just because like they're all like brothers and family, and as they're falling in love, they're all super cute. But this is book 4 and it follows Case and Hannah, who meet at a bar, and it's kind of fling to forever on top of forced proximity. And what ends up happening is Case's brother has just moved out and in with his partner from the previous book. And so Case is looking for a roommate and Hannah moves in. So they're kind of forced to be together and their feelings arise. It is a small town. It is like super cute. And I definitely recommend picking this one up and picking up the whole series. I'm currently reading the 5th book in the series and they're just super fun and they're quick reads, and every time like they just deliver on like the sweet swoony but also like steamy and spicy. So I recommend picking this up. And okay, it is also reformed Playboy, so that's good. Next, and the second to last book, is The Outpost by Devney Perry. This is book 4 in Jameson Valley series. It's another one that I would recommend reading the other books in the series. Things kind of happen that lead up to the events of book 4, but it is forced proximity because Sabrina, the main like female character in this book, is a journalist who reveals the crimes that are being committed by a prominent like criminal family in Washington, and she ends up having to flee because they're going to like kill her and they have like a hit out on her. So she flees to her best friend's small town in Montana, and they are going to put her up in an outpost for like the forest rangers and like the fire crews. And so she has to hide out there with Bo, who is kind of in charge of the forest rangers and kind of living that. And so she is very much a city girl and they are kind of forced to be together while he gets her like settled and comfortable in this like outpost. And he is like the only person who can come visit her. And so it's very forced proximity. There's a lot of romantic suspense, and they're another romance that just, they hit so good. I love Devney Perry's work. This is one of her first series, and this one was just like so good. It's another recent read and I definitely recommend it. I gave it 5 stars. So then my final recommendation for forced proximity is The Long Game by Elena Armas. I read this one as an ARC and it was just really good. So what happens is our main female character, Adeline, is banished to this small town in North Carolina after getting recorded attacking the mascot for a very prominent Miami soccer team. And she moves to this small town and she's in charge of getting together this like youth soccer team and really bringing it into like the light. And lo and behold, the coach is a former like star goalie for a soccer league in America, but also before that he lived in England and was really big there. So they end up being cabin neighbors and they don't like each other. They don't like each other, and so they have a lot of tension, and they're forced to work together, they're forced to live by each other, and then eventually like he finds out that her house or her cabin is not up to par and has her like move in with him. It's another like slow burn Elena Armis romance, and he is like a grumpy, like jaded soccer player, so definitely read this one. It is fun. There's definitely a small town, and they have a really like cute romance as well, and it's big city, small town, so another just like really fun one. But yeah, so that is all 10 of my recommendations for you today. I would definitely recommend checking these books out. They're super fun, super sweet, super steamy, super spicy, and yeah, that is all from me today, and I hope I will see you later. Definitely don't forget to subscribe and comment down below. You can actually comment a chick emoji for Chick Magnet, one of my favorites in this video. And yeah, that's it for me today. I will see you guys later, and I love you, and bye.
Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days.